Batman and Robin 2024 annual. Joshua Williamson writing with Howard Porter on the art. So what is this? One might ask.
Yes, what is this? This is something about the hunted on the cover.
So basically, Batman and Robin are chasing after what's this pair of twins called? Double Dare, and there's not much to it. They catch them in the first 2 pages, but the whole thing is one of them mentions that they just wanted to get some money to go on a road trip, and that's why they stole something. And Damian, and this is actually my biggest complaint of the issue, is that Damian turns to Batman and says, "What's a road trip?" And I'm like, I'm sorry. Damian's 14 years old. He's been living in the city for, 5 years or something now. The concept of a road trip is not an alien thing to him, right? He's not a fish out of water anymore.
He has friends across the world. They are all assassins, true. However, he made friends on the murder tournament island. Okay? Like, he would know road tripping to go see them. So see, this is the stuff with Williamson that I just go, what are we doing, bud?
It's a weird thing. But I mean, the actual thing that it sets up is kind of fun as a concept. It's basically, cut to the next page. Bruce is taking Damian on a father-son road trip. They're going camping or whatever. And it's about bonding. It's about doing normal stuff. No outfits, no Batman and Robin, just father-son stuff. But of course, when they stop at a station along the way, there's a bunch of missing posters, and it's like, oh, there's going to be plot anyway. There's going to be something to solve. And sure enough, when they get to the campground, they find a dead body within seconds, right? Which I would have complained about, but they find more dead bodies, and it becomes very clear within a couple pages they've been trapped in a force field. And what this actually is that it's our old sneaky friend Roulette, who puts on hunts for rich people who want to hunt people in this circular forest area.
Dang, I thought you meant she was having rich people hunted. Doesn't like,
no.
Damn.
So they're basically the prey for all these assassins and rich people who want to go hunting. The main one being what's his name? The Blood Sport. That's the one. I can't want to say Bloodshot. No, that's not Bloodshot. That's a Vin Diesel movie. Bloodsport.
Bloodsport was that Idris Elba's character in the second? I believe so, in the second Suicide Squad.
Actually, that sounds right. Yeah. That sounds right. Although the movie didn't have this whole thing where he can materialize guns out of nothing. He's got fancy tech that lets him just have guns appear in his hands.
Every American's dream.
So, I mean, that's what it is, and Batman and Robin have realized this, and okay, what have we got with us? And we've got a little hatchet, we've got some rope, we've got some torches, some matchsticks, blah blah blah. And then there's a couple things at the bottom. There's 6 batarangs, a katana, and some smoke grenades. And Batman turns to Robin and says, "I told you no bat tools on this trip." And he's like, "But you brought the batarangs." And he just sort of goes, So, whatever. But basically, they pretend to go to sleep, but they actually set up a bunch of Rambo-style traps for all the villains that are going to come and try and kill them. It's basically about as bonding as Bruce and Damian would have. Mm-hmm. Howard Porter's art is, it's Howard Porter art, right? It worked very well whenever he was doing Flash. I've had some issues when he's been doing something like Batman, because he's sort of more loosey-goosey style. Doesn't necessarily lend itself as well. I'd say it's fine a lot of the time, but there's also sometimes where he'll just make it a lot wavier than it should be. And I think a good example of this is when they're at the campsite and one of the assassins trips over a tripwire, right? So a tripwire is a straight line. And when you trip into it, maybe you bend it forward a little bit, but you trip. The art at the top of this page that shows the assassin tripping on this tripwire, the line is like an S shape, and there's waves around. It's so weird. It just doesn't feel like
that's a very ineffective trip line if it's shaped like an S.
Well, it wasn't in the previous page. It's just it's like he's overly artistically trying to jazz it up, and it just kind of feels like it's almost lost the intent of what it's supposed to be.
I had that same issue with him on Deathstroke when he was doing Deathstroke with Williamson. And it was a lot of this stuff that was very straightforward, kind of action-y, that he was adding flares to that makes sense in Flash when someone's moving at that speed, right? But people that are meant to be kind of normal humans, it's always a little bit weird. Like the proportions were off and the perspective seemed off.
Yeah. For sure. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. At one point, I think it's Bloodsport who thinks he's killed them because he stabs the sleeping bags, but it turns out they're not in there because they're too smart for that.
The old trick chasing trick.
Yep. So, I mean, not really all that much to it as a story, really. Eventually, obviously, Bruce and Damien go to the headquarters where the actual gambling of it's happening, and where they're all placing their bets, and kind of take it down. Roulette runs away for a little bit, of course. Bloodsport tries to get back involved, but ultimately the police come in. Chase is there to arrest Roulette, and that's basically it. And the little stinger at the end is Damien realizing that Bruce knew about this case and that he took him out there intentionally to get into this. It wasn't just going to be camping ever, because this is how they bond. Which, to be fair, is something Damien says somewhere in the middle of the issue. He's like, we're not regular father and son. Like, we bond in different ways. We don't have to bond over a sports game just because that's what regular people do. We bond over good martial art techniques. We bond over taking down kingpins. This is kind of Bruce in a way acknowledging that, yeah, there's some truth to that. Like, we bond differently. We bonded over taking down this weird assassin's sporting thing.
Yeah, you won't appreciate this, but it sounds like in Step Brothers when John C. Reilly is telling the dad, we're men, we shoot with the door open, we do this, we do that, and his dad looks at him and goes, we've literally never done any of that stuff, you know. So this feels very much the same vibe as that.
You're right, I didn't appreciate that.
No, I mean, I knew you wouldn't.
Yeah. In fact, here's a good example. The very final page, which is just a full page spread of them driving back to Gotham, and the bridge is just wavy from side to side for like no reason. Like, yeah. Why? Why is it wavy? I don't understand.
Not a very good bridge, is what you're saying. It's just you want a straight, very sturdy bridge.
It's just you know, it's like sometimes he thinks, I'll spice it up. These things that are meant to be straight lines, I'm just going to have some fun with them instead. And I just feel like it detracts from the overall vibe. So I'd say the art's kind of middling for me because of that, these flourishes that he puts in. I mean, I don't think the comic's great. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it that much because I don't think it's, you know, it's not continuing the main story in any way, which, you know, I tend to prefer in an annual. Just give me an oversized regular issue, basically. I do at least appreciate that this is just one self-contained story by the regular writer, though, instead of, you know, an anthology of short stories. But it's only just okay. You know, it's like a 6.5. The overall concept's fun enough, but the art does drag it down for me a little bit. And yeah, so it's fine. It's okay. It's pretty harmless, but no one should be rushing out to buy it.
So I'm looking at, so when you go to League of Comic Geeks, I'll give you like characters that pop up in there. They got Ambush Bug, Johnny Quick, Ultraman, and Superwoman tagged in this issue. There's
like a quick panel. I can't remember if it's a flashback from Bloodsport or if it's just they're attacking Bloodsport in the moment. I'll be honest, I don't remember. Okay. But it's like one panel or two. Okay. It's nothing.
Because again, that's Earth 3. That's where Waller came from. So I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah, it's a flashback because that's where Bloodsport comes from.
Oh.
Or he spent time there. Well, one or the other. But he was on Earth 3. He briefly mentions it, and that's where you get the flashback panel of all these other characters. So.
Got you. Okay. Well, there we go. And I'm only curious because of, again, Williamson and, you know, the Waller stuff going forward and where this all plays into. So, you know, I'm just trying to piece it all together as best I can.
Yeah, I don't think this is tying into Waller. I think this is just... I mean, unless he shows up in her new Suicide Squad team or whatever, I don't know. It's possible. It's possible.